Hey guys, this is Courtney from Willows Bloom, and today we're going to be doing a forecast for Aries rising and sun for the month of April 2023. I'm super excited to jump into this. I have been doing weekly forecasts, and I did a poll on my YouTube channel, and it got about a 50-50 if I should do weekly or monthly. So I'm going to kind of mix things up a little bit and try the monthly and see how that goes. And then I may do weekly general videos if I still have time for that. And we're just going to kind of see how you guys enjoy this compared to the weekly. So a little bit of an experimental time. So this past month has been a really big deal, March, because we had Saturn move into the sign of Pisces. We had the start of the spring equinox and the astrological new year with the Aries new moon, which I did a video on that. I also did a Saturn and Pisces video, and we had Pluto move into the sign of Aquarius, which I also did a video on that. So if you haven't seen those, definitely go check those out, because those will have a lasting impact on the entire year and even years to come with Saturn and Pluto in particular. So we've kind of had a lot of big energy so far, and now we're moving into April, and it's kind of exciting to see how that energy does impact us. And for part of April, we are having all planets direct, so it's still a good time to kind of get everything moving. Let's see if we have a planet going retrograde. I wrote this down earlier, but yeah, we're going to have Mercury go retrograde. So we're going to talk about that. But most of the planets are direct until Mercury goes retrograde near the end of the month. So it's still a really good time to have things kind of be faster paced, to start new things, to feel like they are flowing, and not having so much, I guess, blockages that can come from external factors sometimes when planets go retrograde. So I wanted to start off with April 3rd. We're having Mercury move into the sign of Taurus, which for you all is in your second house. So for a good part of this month, we are having a heavy focus on your finances, especially when Mercury moves into the second house. It's all about kind of shifting our mindset to think more about our resources, our self-confidence, our money, our investments, how we manage those things. And because Mercury is a planet that is an intellectual, I will say, he can help you kind of problem solve. If there have been reoccurring issues coming up in your finances, Mercury moving into your second house can help you try to clear some of that up. On that same day, we also have Mercury making a square to Pluto in your 11th house. So there may be some ways in which the current method of saving money or dealing with your finances doesn't actually align with your long-term plans and future goals. Or there may be some ways in which you being with your friends and hanging out and being in the community and maybe joining courses or doing group events, maybe there's something about that investment of money that actually doesn't align with you feeling really stable and secure and financially sound moving forward. So you may have to make adjustments to how you see your friends or how you spend money with people or how you spend money out in the community, or you may need to make some adjustments to how you manage your finances in order to align with those long-term goals. So let's say, for example, you wanted to buy a house and you've been saying, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a house, I want to buy a house. But in reality, you're actually spending all your extra money on clothes and shoes and food and hanging out with your pals. Well, you're probably not putting your money where your mouth is. You're not really aligning that desire with your actual reality. So on the 3rd is a good opportunity for you to do some kind of soul check-in with yourself to see how it is you really feel about your financial situation and if it aligns with where you want to go. That square to Pluto can also indicate that there can be sometimes a little bit of combativeness that we can experience from the outside. So this might be something where you are at work or you're working on something with somebody, or you have a common goal that you're trying to create with somebody, some kind of future, some kind of solid thing that you're collaborating with. And with the 7 of Wands, it could mean that you are encountering a little bit of pushback. You're encountering a little bit of roadblocks or resistance from the outside. And Mercury square Pluto can definitely indicate that we're meeting a little bit of outside resistance from people who maybe don't agree, or there's just combativeness, and there's a little bit of a controlling, like who's going to have the upper hand, who's going to be the one to decide. So just watch out for that on April 3rd. If you need to come to a consensus, come to an agreement, collaborate on something, but people aren't really agreeing, that's kind of the energy here. And Mercury moving into your second house, thinking about what will make you feel kind of safe, secure, best for your future is I think what can help in that process. It's what you really need in that process. So if somebody's trying to do or say or choose something that makes you feel less confident, less safe, less financially secure, then it's a no for you. So that's going to look different for lots of different people, but I'm definitely feeling like you're going to need to kind of find a way to come together despite the conflict. But the good news is that on April 5th, we have Mercury in Taurus and your second sextiling Saturn in the 12th. So I do think that you will find some sort of solution. Whenever Mercury sextiles Saturn, we kind of hit the ground running. We don't just have an idea, but we have the implementation, we have the action. So if there was some kind of conflict, I can see this being resolved 2 days later, and I can see you guys really having a plan. And that's what Mercury with Saturn likes to do. Because Saturn is in the 12th house as well, this plan could somehow involve like saying no to something or leaving something else in the past. It could also involve deciding to stop some kind of cycle that you have maybe been feeding into. The World card is represented by Saturn, which is where Mercury is aspecting. Mercury is sextiling Saturn. So there is some kind of like closing of a cycle here that could be in regards to your finances. So yeah, it feels like you're deciding something, you're moving forward with something, you're implementing something, and that implementation is closing out some old kind of financial cycle for you, especially with how you've thought about money or how you've planned with money with the Three of Wands. This isn't just about planning, but it's also about trying something new, going into a new horizon, a new location. And I feel like you guys are definitely willing to try something new because the old thing wasn't working. And that's why this cycle is completing. You're like, okay, this is truly a new leaf in my finances. I'm going to take this chance. I'm going to make the leap. I'm going to try this thing. And you're really also super supported for a lot of growth this year because you have Jupiter in the sign of Aries, which is your first house or wherever your sun is. So this is obviously really significant for you in terms of the universe wanting you to become prosperous. So I think that taking this chance or making these changes to your habits are really supported by the divine. So I dropped this card. I'm going to pick that up. We also have the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you guys are stepping into a much more financially savvy version of yourself. I think you're going to start making more money or managing your money properly or saving money in some respects. It's going to be different for all of you, but there's something about your financial situation where you guys are going to be more independent and in control of it. And I feel like this Mercury sextile Saturn is showing that ending of a cycle. And on the same day, it's cool. We have Sun conjunct Chiron in your sign in Aries. So I feel like that is part of this message here. It's not just about you guys making changes to your finances, but it's also about healing your identity around what made you feel maybe not as confident in the pursuit of some of the things that you were trying to do. I really do feel like because this is happening on the same day, they are interwoven and connected. So the Sun with Chiron and Aries, first of all, Chiron and Aries, it makes us have kind of like an existential wound of I have no right to exist. I'm not confident in who I am as a person and my identity. And this is something the collective has been going through. But because you are an Aries, you have Chiron in your sign. You've been feeling it maybe a little bit more. You've been maybe going through certain woundings to kind of discover and strengthen who you are. And this could even be very deeply subconscious. You might not actually have those thoughts about yourself, But when the sun conjuncts Chiron here, I really feel like you are gaining clarity about how you've maybe really held yourself back from pursuing things more in a leadership position or with more gusto or more confidence and more visibility. And I feel like you guys have maybe even taken a back seat in some instances and have not said yes to opportunities, or have stayed home when you maybe would have been better being more social, or maybe there were just things in your life that you had to turn down or that you decided to turn away from. And I think actually some of this was kind of rooted in that existential pain that many of us are healing and going through right now, which actually is surrounding the masculine energy. It's not just around our identity and our confidence, but it's around the masculine itself. And each of us has masculine energy within us. And I feel like there are some things that you maybe felt like you couldn't support or you couldn't do, and you couldn't take on all of that work or all of that responsibility or all that scheduling or whatever it was. And I feel like many of you guys turned away from it with this Four of Cups at certain times of your life, or maybe you just felt really apathetic even about whatever it is you're engaging with. Maybe you felt like you didn't really have your full passion turned on. So it could kind of come in different ways. Either you are doing it, but you're not like fully passionately engaged with it, or you kind of turn away from it. And I see with the Knight of Swords, I see you guys deciding to swiftly gain information and insight and change your perspective about something within your own identity that's going to help you come alive a lot more, act a lot faster, become more decisive, quicker moving, courageous, and not so like disconnected or apathetic or not taking opportunities. Like I feel like you were kind of on the sidelines in some ways. And with the sun conjunct Chiron and Aries, I see you really stepping up into more of that masculine leadership position, acting on things quickly and decisively. And as a result, I think you're becoming a lot more financially prosperous because you are taking the action that you need to take and not letting kind of insecurities or certain things get in your way. So that feels really profound for you guys. The next day on April 6th, we have a full moon in Libra. I'm not going to pull cards and talk about this because I'm going to have a whole video on that specifically. But a full moon in Libra is happening in your 7th house. So this definitely will impact your relationship sector, which is really exciting to think about. And we'll talk about that more later. Okay, April 11th, you guys have the sun conjunct Jupiter in Aries in your 1st house. And this is why I'm saying I really feel like you guys are supported this month to really get things going, get your engine revving up, start doing more, start putting yourself out there, because the sun conjunct Jupiter is one of the best transits that anybody can have. And we're all going through this as a collective, but for you, it's happening in your 1st house. It's happening in the sign of Aries. And so this is really significant for you. It's going to help you, again, become a lot stronger of a leader over your life in some way. It's going to help fortify your confidence and your identity to be the person that you're trying to be. So instead of it just being like, yeah, I want to do this thing, it's who do I become in order to have what I want to have? And the sun conjunct Jupiter gives us the opportunity to become that person. And I pulled the High Priestess card. So I also feel like it's helping you really get in touch with your inner wisdom about how to move forward with things. A leader, the best kind of leader, leads themselves from within and through spirit. So it's not like they are completely alone. They're being guided. They're being moved. And Jupiter is a planet that helps connect us to our bigger vision and to spirit. So I really feel like you guys are not only getting creative visions about their future, feeling inspired, feeling hopeful, feeling connected to yourself and to your guides, but I also feel like you are stepping at this point in time, you're stepping more into a path of sharing your wisdom or somehow affecting other people, especially because Venus moves into Gemini on this day, which is in your 3rd house. So it's moving more into a social energy, and you guys are meant to be sharing your ideas. So this could look like, starting a podcast, making more friends, going out into your community. This could look like teaching somebody something that's really important to you. But there's something here where it's not just about, you being a leader for yourself, but truly about the ripple effect and the impact and the wisdom that you're meant to share. And I feel like you guys have been doing so much learning and growing as an individual that you're going to want to share some of those insights with others. And you're going to want to kind of embrace a little bit more of this social energy. I also really feel like you are just ending an old identity. The Ten of Swords here is about leaving the past in the past. We're not kind of going back, digging it up, worrying about it. Like, we're truly able to let that rest and step into a new life with both feet in. And I feel like you are healing from whatever it is that you're letting go of. And you're going to feel a lot lighter. And because of that, you're going to feel a lot more financially independent and also just independent emotionally. So if any of you guys have gone through a breakup, if any of you guys have kind of been stuck in these weird patterns in relationships, or been overly reliant on others, or had struggled with some aspect in relationships, which I'm saying relationships because we're having a full moon in Libra a few days before this. So relationship patterns and things are going to be brought up. But I really feel like whatever it is that has been coming up with other people, you're truly letting that go, healing, and stepping into a feeling of independence, strength. And that doesn't mean you're not in a relationship, but what it does mean is that there is a really healthy balance where you are taking care of you and that person's taking care of them, and then you're supporting each other, but it doesn't throw you off balance. The other person doesn't get in your way. You don't get in that other person's way. And it feels like a really supportive energy. So I really feel like you're growing a lot on the 11th when the sun conjuncts Jupiter. And that's just an overall good day and a good time to connect socially and romantically in terms of having good conversations with your partner. On the 14th, you have Venus making a square to Saturn. So this energy is a little bit more tense when it comes to social aspects. So maybe you decide, okay, I'm healing. I'm getting over things from the past. I'm going to improve my relationships. But then it's like the 14th when Venus squares Saturn. Sometimes we're challenged where the past might try to come back up. I really don't feel like that's happening because we did pull a 10 of Swords where the 10 of Swords has this kind of definitive ending where you cannot turn back. So I think that there's something about that energy where you cannot turn back from a decision or a way of being that you used to go into. It's truly, truly ended. But because Venus on the 14th, Venus is in your third house squaring Saturn in the 12th. Saturn in the 12th is inherently related to our past. So I'm like, there's something still here that might not have been actually fully cleared up. Let's see what that could be. Interesting. Because Venus square Saturn in general, it can feel honestly like we are when we're having Saturn square our natal Venus, we can really feel like we're not supported in the way that we need. Like money or relationships are harder. We're having to work for them. But what's interesting here is that I'm pulling really, really good cards. So I think that there might actually be something because just a few days before we did see that deciding to move away from the past. So there might be this might be part of that energy where you are releasing it and deciding to commit to a decision moving forward that will create more stability in your life. So I kind of feel like the 11th to the 14th is a process of deciding to let go of the past and release it and commit to something moving forward. And I see that with this this Justice and the 10 of Pentacles. Justice is Libra energy. 10 of Pentacles is very stable. This is very Saturnian. It has like the energy of a family, a community, feeling very financially abundant, well lasting into our future, having a financial legacy. And the Justice card is about not only about making a certain decision, kind of like weighing your pros and cons, but it also has to do with something that feels balanced and fair. So I really feel like you guys are wanting to have a more balanced life with more support moving forward, or for the dynamics of certain relationships or your certain financial life to change and become a lot more balanced, maybe not working as hard, or maybe feeling like you're getting more money for the amount of work you are doing, or feeling like your relationships are a lot more supportive to and fro from both people. So whatever that looks like, I really feel like you guys are making the decision to stop your old life in terms of relationships. And I think that that's going to change, and it's actually going to help you become, again, more financially balanced and more balanced within your emotional life. I also see that with the Ace of Pentacles and the Eight of Pentacles. I feel like you guys might be getting some new financial opportunities coming to you. With Venus squaring Saturn, you might again have to be confronted with the feeling of lack, or be confronted with the need to make changes to your habits from the past. Again, this is where you're kind of drawing that line in the sand. You're like, no more. You might be confronted with that little bit of discomfort, and then as a result of that, you get some kind of financial breakthrough where you can decide to work on something differently. And I think that this is going to make a big deal because you're having a solar eclipse on the 20th in your first house. And on this same day, we're going to be having the sun move into your second. So you're, again, having a new identity being formed that is actually going to help your financial life significantly. And that's really what I'm saying with the Ace of Pentacles. You, I think, are just approaching your financial life and your work life in a really different way. So I feel like finances and relationships are just a big key here for you this month, and I feel like they're interwoven. I really feel like your relationships are going to support or detract from your finances, and vice versa. That's just something I'm seeing very much together. And you are also having Mercury retrograde in your financial sector on April 21st all the way until May 14th. So if they're like, I really feel like you're going to try something new with this Ace of Pentacles in regards to your finances. And you're going to be working at it consistently with the Eight of Pentacles. Maybe you're trying a new budget app that you do every day. Maybe you start a new job. Maybe you are working towards a specific goal that can eventually make you money, learning something new, you know, whatever it is, developing skills or whatever. But I feel like there's something about this situation that you're going to have to go back to the drawing board just a little bit when Mercury does go retrograde, because you might try something new for the first time and it doesn't quite, you know, meet all of your needs right from the beginning. Maybe it takes a little bit of adjusting. Maybe it takes a little bit of like effort to kind of look back at that. And so when Mercury goes retrograde from the 21st to the 14th, this is your time to go back and look over things and kind of redo them. That's what Mercury retrograde is about. It's about thinking about them in a new way and redoing them. And Mercury is a very detail-oriented sign. So I'm almost visualizing somebody going over their budget and realizing, oh, I missed this, and I need to add this category here, and I need to go back and adjust my budget in this way because what I thought was working out this way is actually working out in a different way. And it's just kind of the reality of life. Like, nothing ever really works 110% from day one. We need adjustments, and this is your adjustment period. And then the last thing I'll end with is on April 25th, you have the sun in the second house, again, of your finances, sextiling Saturn in the 12th. So, ooh, interesting. So I feel like this is a time in which you guys might feel like it's interesting. The cards are giving me this energy of having a pause. Like, you're not even totally sure where you want to go. What's funny though is because Sun sextiling Saturn generally gives us the energy of having clarity and applying ourselves into a specific area of our life. So maybe this is talking about how you didn't have clarity, but you will moving forward. The only reason why I'm a little hesitant to say that is because Saturn being in your 12th house can sometimes make us not always totally clear. The 12th house is very unclear in general. So there might be a time in which you're meant to actually use your intuition more in order to make your plans. So Sun sextile Saturn is usually a lot around like, let's be practical. Let's have a more like logical plan. But because Saturn is in Pisces and because it's in your 12th house, I'm actually getting that there needs to be a lot of spiritual influence, a lot of creative, emotional, inspirational energy that then informs your plan. And I really feel like it's trying to tell you with the Hangman not to take really quick action, but to actually look at your situation and your financial situation through a different lens than you normally would. I kind of want to pull an animal card because I feel like there's some message here that I'm not fully getting. What do you want to say? Okay, Cobra and Panther. So the Cobra card. First of all, okay, Panther. Annihilation of the unnecessary purging. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. The Panther won't stand to see your growth or energy stagnant. Instead, it pounces into our lives and causes all kinds of havoc with the ultimate intention of bringing us towards a fulfilling life. Unexpected, uncomfortable, and sometimes devastating, but after the dust clears, it's easy to see the Panther's wisdom at work. We've all been through these experiences, and they make us better people. Trust that the Panther's journey leads to a brighter place. Okay, so this is about getting rid of what is unnecessary in your life. I really feel like that if there's 3 messages to take away, it's that you're getting more responsible with your finances and making fine-tune adjustments. Your relationships are also undergoing their own unique shifts that are going to support or take away from your finances depending on your choices. And the other message is really about leaving the past in the past and kind of cutting and burning away old things in terms of, you know, the past or what is unnecessary. So the Panther here is really having you, I feel like, keep your eyes on the prize. That sextile with Saturn may indicate that you might need to be actually quitting something or ending something or throwing something away in order to become more financially well off and in order to actually simplify your life in a way that is going to make you feel abundant in not just money, but also time and confidence and energy. So think about it this way. Let's say that you have a lot of monthly subscriptions. It's like you going through those and looking at your subscriptions and realizing, you know, I don't use this enough and it's just taking away my money. Or I'm on Netflix, it's taking away my time. Let me just get rid of that. Let me purge this unnecessary thing and have more time and space in my life for the things that really matter. So I can see you guys doing that, especially in regards to finances again. And then we have this Cobra card here. Pausing, waiting, the inner teacher. Okay, that's what I got with the Hanged Man. This is definitely telling you to wait. If there's something around the 25th that you're trying to decide, the Sun sextile Saturn can give you a strong plan and intuition, but it also gives me hesitancy with the Cobra and the Hanged Man. I really feel like you guys are not supposed to take the leap yet, because Saturn and being in the 12th can indicate, again, that you don't have all the information, that you have some clarity, some idea of what you want, but there's also some unknown factors that are outside of your control. So again, around the 25th, please pause. Do not rush into making a decision. Really understand what is necessary for you moving forward and what isn't. That I think will be extremely clear. And the plan about actually how to do it, I think will come in the following days, maybe even in the next month. But I don't think that the 25th is the time to act. You know, Saturn wants us to slow down. It wants us to be cautious. And I really feel like the universe is giving you some message here that if you're trying to make some decision, slowing down and being cautious and taking your time, pausing, waiting, thinking about it is the best way to go about that in order to get the best kind of results. Okay, so I did want to pull 1 or 2 more cards for you guys to kind of get any advice for how to best navigate this month, and then we'll wrap up there. So how can Aries best navigate the month of April 2023? All right, we have the Rhodocrystalline card. Rhodocrystalline comes to you with an unmistakable message. You spot it, you got it, baby. But what does that mean? It means that when you identify something in someone else that you really like or really don't like, it's typically because you see or perceive that same thing within yourself. Rhodocrystalline invites you to look at yourself realistically, based on the judgment or adoration you project onto others, and notice what comes up. So you guys are going through a really big solar eclipse in your first house on the 20th, which I'll talk about in a separate video. But the fact that this card is coming up, I feel like it's trying to tell you you're having some massive shifts in your identity. And if there are traits in others that you really admire and you want to be more like that kind of person, I see you guys actually having that within your reach, and that already actually being there, and you're becoming more aware of how it is already within your reach. But if there are also parts of you that you don't like, it might help you become aware of how you see that in other people as well. So you can focus on creating the identity of the person that you want to be. So especially around the 20th, ask yourself, who do I want to be? And look in the traits of those around you to see what it is you want to pull closer towards or what it is that you need to work on. So I feel like that is going to be your advice for April. Thank you guys so much. If you enjoyed this, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up and comment down below. I read all your comments and they always mean so much to me, even though I'm not always quick to respond. And please don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. If you guys want an astrology reading from me, or if you want astrology coaching from me, I am going to start offering ongoing coaching for clients. So if you want something like that, it's very, very helpful. We look at your chart and we're basically working with what's going on in your current life, as well as kind of what was happening during your developmental phases. And we kind of see in your chart what went amiss, and we work on specifically healing those aspects so that your current life enhances in a major way. So if you're interested in that, definitely let me know by commenting down below, shooting me an email, checking me out at willowsboom.com or my descriptions. There's a bunch of links there, and I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Bye.